I've always loved living in cities, but one night changed how I feel about being surrounded by people I don't really know. I live in an old apartment building, the kind where everyone minds their own business. Most people here have lived here for years, and there's this weird unspoken rule of not talking to each other beyond a polite nod in the hall. And honestly, I was fine with that. One night, I got home from work around 10 p.m. I was exhausted, so I threw on some PJs, poured a glass of wine, and settled into my couch to catch up on some shows. Halfway through the first episode, I got this strange feeling. It was like I was being watched. I brushed it off, chalked it up to work stress or maybe just an overactive imagination. But then I saw it. A shadow moved outside my window. Now, I live on the second floor, so it's not like people can just walk past. I convinced myself it was a trick of the light or maybe just a bird or something. I tried to ignore it, but that feeling of being watched wouldn't go away. A few nights later, it happened again. Only this time, I heard scratching. Light at first, but it was definitely coming from my window. I live alone, so this wasn't exactly comforting. I got up, pulled the curtain back, and saw. I told myself it was just tree branches in the wind. But after that night, it kept happening. Sometimes I'd come home to find things moved just slightly out of place. Nothing major, just little things like my keys being left on the counter when I always put them in the bowl by the door. Other nights, I'd hear faint footsteps in the hallway, stopping right outside my door, but whenever I looked through the peephole, no one was there. I thought about telling someone, but what would I say? Hi, I think someone's watching me, but I don't actually have any proof, so I tried to ignore it until one night something happened that I couldn't ignore. I was sleeping when I heard a soft creak in the hall outside my bedroom. At first, I thought I was dreaming, but then I heard it again, closer this time. I sat up in bed, heart pounding, and listened. That's when I heard a faint scratching noise right at my bedroom door. I didn't have any weapons, so I grabbed my phone and dialed 911, my hands shaking as I tried to stay as quiet as possible. I whispered to the dispatcher what was happening, and she stayed on the line with me, telling me to stay calm and keep my voice low. A few minutes later, I heard the sound of footsteps retreating, followed by silence. It felt like hours before the police arrived. They didn't find anyone inside my apartment, but they did find something that made my blood run cold. There were smudged fingerprints on my bedroom door, right around the handle, like someone had been standing there, just listening. The police told me it was probably a homeless person who'd gotten into the building, but I could tell they were just trying to calm me down. They never did find out who it was or how they got in. I moved out a month later. I still get chills when I think about that night. The scratching, the footsteps, and those fingerprints on my door, it all felt so personal, so invasive. And the worst part? I'll never know who it was or why they chose me.